Very welcome everyone to the live number 3 of the Docuedit Formula 1 2024 live showroom. And today in this live, in the live number 3, we will check most of the driver edits I was making, the story behind these edits, the reasons why I decided to make every single edit. It's really important you watch them knowing this story behind when the Docuedit will be published at the end of this week. Yesterday and the previous day we were doing different lives where I was explaining more in depth this project and the meaning of this project. Here in this card I will place the live of yesterday, the live number 2. If you really want to know more details about this project, my vision, my personal vision, the montage, the building process of this immense whole project, I also recommend you not only to be subscribed to my YouTube channel Flows by Dani Lozano, also to my alternative channel, that is this one, Dani Lozano Flows. Here is where I'm, first of all, is where I'm doing this live, but also is where I'm explaining a lot of details about every single edit I was making for this project, the Docuedit. You can see Max Verstappen, Colapinto, Lawson, Perez, Hamilton, Piastri, Norris, Leclerc. And this is something we want to do today, to get in deep of the story behind every single edit. Not the story, not my story as a creator. The story because I decide to make these edits, you know? And that's why, once again, let's use my blog. This is my blog, blog.daniflows.com. You will have the link also to all these to all my YouTube channels, to my blog in the comment section of this live. Once I finish the live, I will place a comment with all links to all what I was mentioned. And today, as I said, let's use once again the blog because I really want to explain you a bit more, to get more in deep about every single driver edit. Let's start for one of the edits I was talking about more in these live stream sessions. The Carlos Sainz edit, the epic start of the season with the Scuderia Ferrari. Remember, this is an edit that I made. It's the first that I made, I have to say, about Carlos Sainz and his spectacular start of the season in Ferrari in 2024, knowing he will have to leave Ferrari at the end of the season because Lewis Hamilton decided to sing for the Scuderia at the end of the 2024, at the beginning of the 2024 season for the 2025 season. So the start of the season in Bahrain of Carlos Sainz was absolutely incredible. And this is why one of the reasons because I made it. But the main reason because I made this edit was because of the extraordinary performance, the comeback he did in the Australian Grand Prix. When the 15 days before the Australian Grand Prix, he was in the hospital because he had an appendicitis in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix that impeded him to race there, and he was substituted by Oliver Berman. And this is basically what I was explaining in this edit. As we can read here, Carlos Sainz started the 2024 Formula 1 season performing extremely well during the first race of the season, during the 2024 Bahrain Grand Prix. Carlos executed incredible overtakes and moves that place him in the podium places. Remember, he finished third in the Bahrain Grand Prix, doing incredible overtakes to his teammate Charles Leclerc. But the start of the season for Sainz was an absolute roller coaster. Next week, after his fantastic podium in Bahrain during the 2024 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, he suffered appendicitis, missing the rest of the weekend, including the race in Saudi Arabia. That's what I was talking before. 15 days after the operation, Carlos Sainz was able to drive his Ferrari in the 2024 Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne. And not only that, he was able to win that race, despite to feel pain and some discomfort due to the aftermath of his appendicitis issue. An extraordinary story that you will be able to watch in the Docuedit Formula 1 2024 as you have never seen before. This story will be reflected in my edit for the Docuedit 2024. And let's watch part of the video series dedicated to Carlos Sainz, one of the pieces dedicated to Carlos Sainz that I named Stories of the Docuedit Formula 1 2024 season, where I told about my vision of the edit, and in that way you will have a much better and clear vision about all what I was talking about during these minutes. Let's take a look, not the whole video, but let's take a look because I think it's very important, guys.
That's a late lunge and a half from downtown to take the place of Carlos Sainz.
What Carlos Sainz did was extraordinary.
He is driving in a way we've never seen from him before.
Last year I spent my whole year defending. We arrived to the first race and I am attacking and making overtakes. It makes me happy. It's been a while.
It was the first edit I decided to make when I saw the extraordinary performance of Carlos Sainz in Ferrari in the first race of the season in Bahrain, doing incredible overtakes. Showing something Carlos was not able to show in previous season, that fire inside of him, try to be the best, to try to beat everyone, including his teammate. That's true, because I remember watching the Bahrain Grand Prix in 2024, the first race of the season, and the incredible overtakes he did here, for example, to Charles, in the way he did it, is something I never seen to do before to Carlos Sainz. Normally, Carlos Sainz is, let's say, on track, a bit more cold driver, or a bit more strategy driver. You know, he's really thinking a lot about before to make a move. You know, before to plan the next. It's not so, let's say, aggressive as, for example, Max Verstappen. You know, it's a driver that use a lot the strategy, and they normally plan things before to do it. You know, it's not so, let's say, aggressive and, you know, temperamental. I don't know if that word exists in English. And I was watching the race in Bahrain and watching Carlos Sainz doing these overtakes, these dive moves, and thinking, man, Carlos, this year feels different. It really feels that maybe he's a bit angry because he knows it's his last season in Ferrari, and he wants to prove that it was a wrong decisions to discard Sainz. You know, that's the one of the reasons because I made the edit. Charles Leclerc.
When we were at the car lounge, I remember telling you, this year I wish I had a car to overtake and not to defend.
To be honest, what Carlos Sainz did after the appendicitis was absolutely epic.
The breaking news here, Carlos Sainz has an appendicitis. He will not, therefore, be taking part in this weekend.
I really wanted to represent the Carlos Sainz fight spirit after the appendicitis issue.
I feel ready. I've done as much as possible to recover, and you cannot imagine the effort and the logistics and things that I've done to be fit for this race. Progress.
It's unbelievable. Every time I see that, how difficult it was for him even to sit in the car, as you can see in this image.
I'm very happy with all the progress I've made, and now, as I said, it's time to jump in the car and see how I feel.
Missing the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, it's absolutely unbelievable. And obviously the key point when I decided to make the edit was Australia. When after the appendicitis he was able to win the race in Australia. Was absolutely incredible, guys. As you can see here in the images, let's put it just here to watch the moment.
Life in Formula 1, and they're about to go wheel to wheel. You're watching a Ferrari take the lead of the Grand Prix.
Passing
What a
Verstappen.
performance! What a comeback! A Ferrari 1-2, headed by Carlos Sainz.
Unbelievable. I tried to make a very intense and epic edit. That was epic, and that was what I tried to represent, the greatest victory ever in Formula 1 by Carlos Sainz. And not only because the physical issue itself, also because of the mentality he had to achieve after that appendicitis issue, to focus 100% in the car, on track, ignoring the pain he felt only 15 days after the surgery.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Basically, that's all well explained. That's the story of, and it's incredible. It's incredible, the mental strengthness of Carlos to overcome this issue, this appendicitis issue in Saudi Arabia, missing the race, and 15 days later, not only winning Formula 1, not only racing, winning the Australian Grand Prix. During the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, one driver had to substitute Carlos Sainz, obviously. And in this case was a rookie that was racing in Formula 2 that weekend, Oliver Berman. And Oliver Berman did an incredible debut in Formula 1 in Ferrari. This season is his first season as a rookie. He's racing in Haas, and probably One of the reasons because Oliver Berman is racing as an official driver in 2025 is thanks to the race he did in Saudi Arabia last year as substituting Carlos Sainz in Ferrari. His first race ever in Formula 1 in Ferrari, guys. That's and not as a first driver. The day before he was racing in Formula 2, and suddenly the Ferrari team say him, Oli, you have to get up in the car to race. And he did it incredibly well. And this is the story of Oliver Berman, as you can see here. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz was recovering at hospital after his appendicitis issue during the 2024 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. The reserve driver of Scuderia Ferrari, the English racing driver Oliver Berman, was the substitute of Sainz during the rest of the weekend. With only one practice session before qualifying, Berman was able to perform decently well on his debut in qualifying, finishing 11th. The race day, he confirmed the good perform, recovering places and barreling through the field to finish in 7th place on his debut in Formula 1 with Scuderia Ferrari. You will be able to watch that fantastic debut of Berman in Saudi Arabia in the Docuedit F1 2024 in an epic edit that will make shining the best action on track of Oli that weekend, including some special moments where the father of Carlos Sainz Sr., the father of Berman, and even Lewis Hamilton will be the protagonist of that story at some point of the edit. Yeah, this is something you will discover once you watch the final video. Let's watch part of the story of the Oliver Berman edit. That is very interesting, guys. Really interesting. Let's take a look.
The breaking news here, Carlos Sainz has an appendicitis. He will not, therefore, be taking part in this weekend. Oliver Berman, who was pole in Formula 2, is stepping...
This is Oli in his Formula 2 car the day before racing in Formula 2 that weekend in the same circuit. And I think he did pole position. And the next day, he had to wake up knowing he has to substitute Sainz. That was incredible.
And he will be making his F1 debut in a Ferrari at the age of 18.
18 years old, guys. 18 years is incredible. When Oliver Berman completed the race in Saudi Arabia as a Ferrari driver substituting Carlos Sainz, I knew that I had to make some kind of edit about this driver in Saudi Arabia.
Berman off the road as he begins life in Formula 1, slightly on the defensive.
This is now Oli racing actually in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Joining your first Formula 1 Grand Prix ever with only one practice session before the qualifying and the race.
I woke up this morning focusing on my F2 race, starting P10, and then at some stage it was clear that I had to get in the F1 car.
Look at that, starting P10. At the morning he was thinking he will be racing in Formula 2, and he had no idea he will be racing in Formula 1 in the practice 3. And I think he started in P10 because he had to complete the sprint race. That the pole position, the man on pole, start from 10th. So, incredible.
Best wishes for Carlos in his recovery, but it's a great opportunity for me and I'm ready to maximize it.
The preparation physically and mentally was not complete for Oliver Berman. And not only that, in the team he did it. Scuderia Ferrari, probably the most iconic, relevant team in Formula 1. Exactly, it's not... sorry, I don't want to underestimate other teams, but Ferrari is the team in Formula 1 with the most successful story, the oldest team in Formula 1. It's everything, you know. It's the team where every driver wants to drive at some point of his career, so it's incredible. And let's say that the race was incredibly good for Oli. Let's take a look. Some moves he did that is really great to see. Look at this one. You can see in the edit, this is a little thing that I never told about it. This is part of the edit. The images I'm showing you are extracted from the edit I made about every driver, and this is part of the Oliver Berman edit you will be able to watch. And I did very interesting thing. When Berman is looking to the left side to watch the car he has in front, I did a zoom effect to the place where he's looking for, because this move is really nice, because he's thinking to go by the right side of the track, but he's realized that he has not the speed necessary to came out of this straight line in first place or passing this driver. So he decided, while he was in the straight, to look to the left side, because he was planning to move to the left side and to pass him by the inside to the RB. I think it was Tsunoda. Very good move. Look at that. Did you saw the zoom that I made when he's looking to the left? Because he's now planning that he will go to the left side to use the inside line to pass the RB. Super intelligent decision.
Little dummy shimmy to the inside.
Great move. Great move.
Go on then. I like that expression, the Behrman move.
Incredible overtakes Oliverman did in that race. For example, when he passed that RB, that was an amazing change direction movement, a very special overtake that Oliverman did in that race. Exactly. This is something that when I was making the edit and I watched the movie, I said, wow, I had to include that moment and to try to make some kind of a special effect to make people understand he was planning that move since the beginning, changing the direction from the right to the left. It was absolutely amazing. And in general, the maturity is right to say that the mature words Oliverman said not only after the race, it looks really mature driver, you know, very calm and very professional with only 18 years old. For example, here. Hours before you will going to do it, you know.
Yeah, I think I put a good showing for myself, which is the main thing, right? Difficult circumstances, you know, not a lot of laps on track, but I think we maximized everything today.
In my edit for the Docuedit Formula 1 2024 season, I had to represent that race from the young Oli Behrman. We have exactly. It's super mature. His words is, and obviously the debut was so great. The result was a 7th place at the end in the race, but considering it was the debut as a rookie in Ferrari. Amazing performance, and obviously he deserved an edit in this project. By the way, you have the chat in any moment. That's why we are on live. If you have to comment something about it, I will be reading you. So make sure you are here or you want to say something. Next story that I present you in the Docuedit was the Lando Norris win in Miami in the 2024 Miami Grand Prix. Another incredible moment when Lando scored his first Formula 1 victory in Formula 1 in Miami. Here is the story, because I made the edit. For example, Lando Norris arrives to Miami to fight for the top places in the Formula 1 2024 Miami Grand Prix. He has a visible scar on his nose after he suffered a little cut with a glass broken after partying some weeks before in Netherlands. This is something I include in the edit. I include images from that party from Lando Norris, but at the end I decided to don't include them in the final video because it's like a private life, you know. I know the images are public, but I didn't want to show like not private, but images from the private life of Lando Norris. I show at the end some photos. Some people took him with a bandage on the face to hide the cut he suffered in the nose, but I decided to eliminate the videos that I use for representing that party, because at the end I thought that maybe I don't like to show these kind of things in my edit, you know. I try to focus only in the race actions and the race weekends, you know. But anyway, the Miami Grand Prix, the second round of the season, set as a sprint weekend format. Lando Norris started in the worst possible way the Grand Prix, that's true, crashing in the race start of the sprint race on Saturday and being out in lap 1. It's true, he crashed after a chain reaction crash that produced by Lewis Hamilton. And the weekend starts really bad for Lando, but he had no idea that that weekend would finish in his first Formula 1 race win ever. Fortunately for him, the rest of the weekend went in a much better way. Let me include it. Lando was fast in qualifying, setting the second fastest lap time of the session and starting in front row for the Sunday's race. I think this is wrong. He started in 5th place. I don't know why I put... that he started in 2nd place. I think he started in 5th. I have to change that. On Sunday, Norris was able to maintain the race pace of Max Verstappen in the first 16 and extending more than the Dutch driver. Lady Luck came to McLaren and Norris when a crash between Kevin Magnussen and Logan Sargent forced to the race direction to deploy the safety car. That allowed to McLaren to stop Lando for the tire chain under safety car conditions, coming out in the lead just ahead of Max Verstappen. Yeah, it was a bit lucky, but sometimes that happened. After the restart, Lando Norris set an extraordinary race pace, being uncatchable for Verstappen and the rest of the drivers. In that way, Lando Norris won for the first time ever in Formula 1, 6 years after his debut in the category, and giving to McLaren a new victory. In the Docuedit F1 2024, you will be able to watch the story of the first victory in Formula 1 of Lando Norris with McLaren, a you have never seen before. An edit with epic music and extraordinary visual effects in the montage process that creates an unique piece of content about one of the best moments in the Lando Norris career. Exactly. Very intense edit, very important. The first victory in Lando Norris, and that's why I made the edit.
I'm fine.
Excited too.
It's just a little cut from a bit of glass. That's it.
You can see the scar in the face here because of that party, but nothing more than that. Lando Norris in the Miami Grand Prix came with a little issue in the nose, as you can see in the photos, in the footage.
No, I had a good weekend, spent it with some friends.
This is the original video. At the left side you can watch here. I put it for represent this video telling the story, but in the final video in the Docuedit I decided to eliminate that video because, as I said, the video is public, it's in social media, but at the end of the day it's his private life and his stories and stuff, and obviously I use it in this little video to explain the story, but in the final video, as I said, to build the data, I decided to discard it.
And ready to go here in Miami. Miami's not been our best place either. If you look back to the last few years, we've not had a good race here yet, so hoping to change that. But it's a sprint race, so there's always opportunities.
Yeah, we had a sprint race. Unfortunately, it ends in the worst way, as you can see here. Here, Hamilton crashed with the Aston Martin of Fernando. Alonso changed into Stroll, and Stroll hit Lando.
Who gets shuffled out? A spin for the McLaren heading backwards there.
I'm out, I got hit.
Okay, you sure you can't bring it back? I haven't seen.
No, I got suspension damage.
Well, the weekend did not start in the best way possible. But fortunately, with the safety car in race and everything that happened later on, Lando Norris was able to win in the Miami Grand Prix. And it was a very, very epic moment that you can see here. Presenting that epicness.
Lando Norris has stood on the podium, but never on the top step. Lando Norris wins for the first time in Formula One.
The moment when Lando Norris became in a real Formula 1 race winner.
We did it, Will! We did it! I finally delivered for you. Thank you so much. Finally. Oh, I'm so happy. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. This one's for my grandma.
For Lando Norris, it took a lot of time, 5 years, to achieve that victory. In Miami, when he achieved it, it was like a release of freedom for Lando Norris. It was like a new door was opened for Lando Norris, like now I am a race winner. Now I know what it means to win in Formula 1.
I don't know, it's hard to describe, like...
Exactly, that was very important. Lando Norris was his sixth season in Formula 1 and he was not able to win. He was in the podium, I think 15 times before, but always in second and third place. And it's not the same that win. Win is something different. When you win for the first time, when a Formula 1 driver wins for the first time, automatically he goes to another position, you know, in the, let's say, in the universe of Formula 1 or in the status, you know. And finally, when Lando achieved that victory, it's like now the second one will be easier because now he knows how to win, you know. That's also one of the reasons because this edit is really important, was really important to make to see how Lando Norris won for the first time. And move on for the next one. The third edit I want explain with all of you. The story behind is another emotional moment. This one for Charles Leclerc in the Monaco Grand Prix. Monaco and Charles Leclerc in Formula 1 is not a good combination because he was on pole in multiple occasions and for different circumstances always the victory ran away from him for strategic decisions, bad strategy decisions by Ferrari, by accidents he had. Like in 21 when he was on pole, but in the second attempt of pole position he crashed into the barriers and the next day the car is still damaged. He had a gearbox issue, and even he cannot start the race when he had to start on pole. Super painful moment. In Formula 2 also, he was ready to win the race, and he suffered some kind of suspension broken issue. In 2019, he also crashed into the wall. All these accidents previous to the previous 2024 Monaco Grand Prix, that was the year when Leclerc won finally his home race, you will be able to see in the Docuedit that background, that misfortune background, no? But let's read the story just a bit of the edit. As you can see here, Charles Leclerc, by the way, these photos you are seeing now, these screenshots are part of the Docuedit as well. These visual effects you will be able to watch in the final edit. So in that way you can take a look also to the pictures in my blog. Charles Leclerc is waiting for the 2024 Monaco Grand Prix. It's his home race. The track is just a few kilometers away from his home and family. Charles is expecting to win this race since long time. He had important chances in different occasions, like in 2021 and 2022, but for different circumstances the victory ran away from him. Since free practice 1, Charles Leclerc was the fastest out there, setting incredible lap times on his Ferrari and being unbeatable for the rest of the grid. On Saturday he set the fastest lap and the pole position for the 2024 Monaco Grand Prix. This is not new for Leclerc. Due to he achieved the pole position in previous years in Monaco in 2021 and 2022. The crucial day for Leclerc is on Sunday, the race day. Charles Leclerc starts from pole in the most difficult track in the world to be overtaken. He just needs to complete the 78 laps of the race with the car in one piece. This time the car is in perfect conditions, unlike in 2021 when he started the race on pole, but a big shunt into the barriers the day before in qualifying produced terminal damage on his Ferrari that caused the poleman could not even start the race. Exactly. In addition, in 2024 it's not raining, unlike in 2022 when Leclerc started the Monaco Grand Prix on pole again, but in the moment the track conditions and the rain intensity changed, the Ferrari strategy was wrong, giving advantage to Red Bull and Sergio Perez and destroying the chances of victory of Charles Leclerc due a wrong call to the pits for a tires change. All bad memories in previous races in Monaco is what Charles has to fight with. The race start of the 2024 Monaco Grand Prix is clean for the Monegas driver. The tire strategy and the call to the pits is perfect. No issues, no difficulties, and no surprises this time. Charles Leclerc is the race winner of the Monaco Grand Prix finally. An emotional victory that destroys all bad memories in previous races on his home soil. The dream of Charles Leclerc is finally complete, to win his home race in the place where he grew up alone to his family, including his deceased father, one of the most important persons in life for Charles, to whom he can dedicate the victory from the streets of Monaco to the sky. The emotions and intensity lived by Charles that weekend in Monaco will be edited in an unique way in the Docuedit F1 2024, creating amazing effects and visual storytelling around that story. Exactly. Very emotional victory, not only because of the bad background he had before, also to dedicate that victory to his father that he lost in 2017 and was a very important person for him in racing, to start racing. And this is something that I explain in the story behind this edit, as you can see here. This is part of the edit. You are watching part of the edit. You will watch in the final video. So these moments are like a sneak peek. Monaco and Charles Leclerc are extremely related.
The Monaco week, I think it is extra special, having grown up here.
When I saw Charles Leclerc scoring the pole position once again in Monaco in 2024.
As he comes across the line, Charles Leclerc will start from the very front of the field.
I knew I had to make an edit for the Docuedit Formula 1 2024.
The feeling and the...
Well, not exactly, because obviously it was on pole but on Saturday. But that not means he will be able to win. It was wrong here. Basically, I decided to make the edit when he won in Monaco. When he was on pole, no, because I knew all the background and I knew that something could happen again for Charles. And maybe the victory could run away again. But yeah, once he finally achieved it, it was very easy to decide to make the edit, to be honest. And the race was very good, and the moment Charles Leclerc finally win is really, really emotional, as you will be able to see here. This is what I was trying to explain. This is the story behind it, so emotional, and all the background is suffered Charles until this point, and until finally winning Monaco is so special and intense that I try to reflect that in the edit, as I was trying to explain here.
We won it! Finally! Yes! 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 Yes!
Finally, he was able to win in Monaco. The emotions were extremely high. In every moment, I tried to represent those emotions in the edit.
I feel extremely good. There's a lot of things adding to this weekend.
It was probably the most emotional one for Charles Leclerc, winning at home soil, winning to dedicate that victory to his father, the real person, because Charles was racing that day.
As soon as he passed away, I asked myself, what would he want me to do? I had no doubts. I mean, there was only one answer.
Extremely emotional, extremely important. It's impossible to don't feel goosebumps watching that edit. And I'm sure you will feel it once you will be able to watch it. Yeah guys, I'm sure you will feel it, guys. This edit is probably... There are a couple of edits really emotional, but this one is super, super emotional. And if you are a fan of Charles Leclerc, I'm sure you will cry. Mega, mega emotional. Move on to the next story, guys. The next story is Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton, why I decided to make an edit about Lewis Hamilton in the moment he won at Silverstone, the British Grand Prix. And especially because something that was really surprising for me. Let's read the background of the story. Maybe in that way you will understand even more why I decided to make this edit. Lewis Hamilton started 2024 Formula 1 season with new hopes about fighting for wins, something that he has not done in the two previous seasons, being the longest streak without wins in F1 since the debut of the British driver in Formula 1 in 2007. Look at that data. The 2024 season did not start in the best way for Lewis. He had some difficulties along his Mercedes car and team to find a good balance and performance necessary to challenge the powerful Red Bull car and the emerging of McLaren as a new contender in the championship run. In addition, Lewis suffered to beat his teammate George Russell in qualifying and some races during the first quarter of the season. Hamilton was incredibly honest, admitting he was being slower than his teammate and pointing his lack of performance as the main cause of the bad results he was achieving. Fortunately, everything started to change since the Spanish Grand Prix, the round 10 of the 2024 calendar. Mercedes was able to bring very good upgrades that worked extremely well, closing the gap to Red Bull and McLaren to almost to zero. At that point, Lewis saw it much more confidence in his driving, doing great races and finishing in the podium regularly. But the moment of the season for Lewis still was to come. In the 2024 British Grand Prix at Silverstone, his home race, Lewis shined once the rain came in the first laps of the race, overtaking his teammate George Russell for the lead of the race. In the second half of the Grand Prix, sun came out and the track dried quickly. In the final stint, Max Verstappen on a better set of tires passed Lando Norris for second place. Max came like a torpedo, chasing Lewis until the very end of the race. Hamilton managed his tires brilliantly to cross the start-finish line and winning after 2 years and a half a Formula 1 Grand Prix at his home, and with his fans watching that iconic moment were not a better ending to break the streak for Lewis Hamilton, winning for the 9th time a single Grand Prix, a new record for the recordman in Formula 1. This emotional victory achieved by Lewis Hamilton has been edited brilliantly in the Docuedit F1 2024, creating a magic edit that will make shine Lewis as a racing driver and as a human being. Exactly. And the reason basically is not, I not made an edit because Lewis won a race or won the British Grand Prix. Is because it was like 2 years and a half without winning, the longest streak, the longest period of time. And in multiple interviews, he was very humble all the time, saying he was slow, he was not getting the feeling with the car, he was not extracting the potential of the car. He was blaming about himself. He was not telling excuses or saying excuses or putting excuses to everyone. You know, he admitted the problem was on him, and that humility or that modesty is what led me to make that edit. You know, guys, he's the greatest driver of all times in terms of numbers and everything. So, and this is something I try to explain in this video, guys. Let's take a look.
I should have got through easy. It was my mistake. I just struggled. I couldn't seem to stop the car in turn 14. It just kept locking. I mean, I was pretty slow.
Can you see how humble is Lewis? How he admits he's failing. He's not blaming about the team, the setups, anything. He's putting the pressure on himself. And for me, that's what makes really special to Lewis. Not being 7 times world champion. For me, this is what makes really a really good driver, Lewis. To admit the problems is on himself, you know. And this is what I try to explain making this edit. I think I'm explaining here more or less.
A lot better than I do. So
in that edit, I try to represent the emotions Lewis Hamilton was feeling after 2 years and a half without victories.
So that's why I decided to let George by. He seemed quicker, and I just couldn't turn the car. And it took us 2 stints to finally dial more and more wing in to make up for that loss.
Because Lewis was recognizing that he needs to prove to everyone that he can win again. When Lewis Hamilton won the British Grand Prix in 2024, I knew I had to make an edit about it for the Docuedit Formula 1 2024 season. That victory was a turning point for him.
Get in there, Lewis! You're the man!
Thank you so much, guys. It means a lot to get this one. And a big thank you to all the fans here. Love you guys.
That victory was extremely important for him. Not only as a racing driver, also as a human being.
I think that might be the most emotional ending to a race that I think I've probably ever had.
Almost crying. Look at the eyes. He was able to release all this pain inside of him as a driver in terms of Abu Dhabi 21 when he lost the title against Max Verstappen in the last race.
It's been such a long time, you know, since 2021.
And this is what I wanted to represent with his father, hugging the emotions around, showing the new journey of Lewis Hamilton to conquer again the heart of all people who started to forget why Lewis Hamilton is a 7 times Formula 1 world champion.
It's taken.
Exactly. That's really well explained. 2 years and a half without victories for Lewis is a lot of time, and he said it was a long time since 2021. 2021 won his last race in Saudi Arabia, and then it came Abu Dhabi 21. That for Lewis Hamilton fans, I know what that race means for them. Super painful, you know. That victory at Silverstone after 2 years and a half for me was like a new period for Lewis Hamilton, you know. Like for that moment, he even started to doubt about himself if he will be able to win again. And when he did the final at Silverstone at home, there is not a better place to do it. To break that kind of bad streak. And this is what I try to represent in the edit. So I hope you enjoy it. You will enjoy so much, Lewis Hamilton fans, this edit. Will be very emotional also for all of you, I'm sure. Next story is Oscar Piastri. Wow, that's powerful story as well. Oscar Piastri, that is a driver that I made an edit about him for the first time ever. It was my first edit you will be able to watch in the Docuedit. And it's more a season highlights of Oscar until the moment he wins for the first time in Hungary. Let's read a bit the story of the edit here, as you can see here. The second season for Oscar Piastri in Formula 1 means the continuation in the progression the Australian driver is doing as a racing driver. In 2024, Oscar has improved his skills in driving, pace and head-to-head on track. Oscar has achieved solid results in the first races of the 2024 season, but the podium did not come until the round 8 in Monaco, where he drives extremely good to achieve an important second place. His teammate in McLaren, Lando Norris, has achieved until Monaco 4 podiums and 1 race victory in Miami. The comparison between Lando and Oscar doesn't help to the Australian driver, but he doesn't matter. The cold personality and the calm Piastri shows out of the track is completely different to what he does on track. Little by little, Oscar has improved to get close to Lando, and also he has did amazing overtakes. Oscar wants to be world champion someday. In the Austrian Grand Prix of the 2024 season, he started to prove it. In the sprint race, he was able to stay cool behind the amazing battle for the lead between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris to take advantage in the right moment, to pass his teammate and finishing ahead. Lando Norris continues achieving the best results for McLaren in most of the weekends, including different pole positions like what he achieved in the Hungarian Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Oscar qualified just behind Lando in second place. The race days was the turning point for Piastri as a Formula 1 driver. In the race start, he did an amazing start passing Lando in turn 1 and defending from the current world champion Max Verstappen. The maiden race victory looked easy at that point for Oscar once he took the lead in lap 1, in a circuit where it's very difficult to pass. Unfortunately for Oscar, the team strategy did not benefit him, stopping 1 lap later than his teammate Lando Norris and in that way being passed in the pit exit. After that, the team tried to convince Lando to bring back to Oscar the position he achieved on track. Norris finally accepted team orders from McLaren, letting pass Oscar in the final laps of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Oscar won for the first time ever in Formula 1, after achieving one of the biggest dreams of a racing driver. Oscar looked very calm as always. Look, he won many times before, but that's part of the Piastri magic. That victory was not the only one he get that season, but was the one that proved Oscar Piastri is a world champion material. You will be able to see the incredible progression as a racing driver from Oscar in the Docuedit F1 2024 in a very cool edit that will show Piastri as you have never seen before. Exactly, the mission for me in this edit was to try to represent the personality of Oscar Piastri in every moment and how I see Oscar Piastri. There is a very calm guy outside the track. I really enjoy Oscar personality. I really like so much because at the same time he has fire inside of him. On track, his behavior is different. If he has to do some moves, he will do. And this is what I tried to explain in the video. Let's take a look. Sorry,
yeah. But yeah, my driving was pretty good apart from when I was clipping walls.
I like this kind of humor of Oscar, how he ironize or make fun about little details. I really like this humor from Oscar. I really enjoy it. Very ironic, but I like this personality. Piastri deserved a good edit in my Docuedit Formula 1 2024 season.
I'm the only one. It's frustrating, but yeah.
Yeah, that G award, I will play with that in the edit, but this is something you will watch at the end. Let's move forward and let's try to show you why I decided to make this edit. It's a bit difficult to mix these emotions when he was racing on track with all the adrenaline, and at the same time to mix this fire on track with the cold speaking Oscar Piastri has.
Could have found time a bit frustrating, but you know, I think in a session like that, and you know, if we're going to be fighting for championships, you know, you need to be there.
And this is the Hungarian Grand Prix, the Grand Prix when he wins. And look at the start.
Hungarian Grand Prix is underway. Good reaction time for Oscar Piastri. The two cars go side by side. Piastri diving to the inside. Verstappen trying to go the long way round. Piastri takes the lead of the race.
But also at the same time, in the race he was able to win in Hungary. I think I did a good job representing that victory in the way Oscar Piastri is emotional, celebrating the victory, but at the same time, the mentality is still being there. He knows what he wants to be. He wants to be the best.
Lando Norris is backing off. Oscar Piastri goes back through into the lead of a Grand Prix.
In the edit of Oscar Piastri, in the first edit about the victory in the Hungarian Grand Prix, his first victory in Formula 1, was about to show the mentality Oscar have.
Extremely happy. Still some things to improve and work on, definitely, but incredibly happy to have my first win.
And a spectacular driver, a bit different to the rest, but that differential factor is what makes him a very important driver and show for the future of Formula 1. He has the mentality, and in the edit I try to represent that in every moment. It's a very great driver and I really like. Exactly. I really like the mentality of Oscar. I think he is world champion material in the future. Let's see what happened this year. But he scored an incredible victory 7 days ago, or no, 3 days ago in the Chinese Grand Prix, in the 2025 Chinese Grand Prix. Let's see, still a long way to go this season, but for me, he's a driver that I would like someday will be champion, to be honest. I'm very fan. I'm a big fan of Oscar. The next story is, wow, this one is really special. Logan Sargent, that even people maybe don't remember now, Alex Albon Williams Racing last season. Why I decided to make an edit about Logan Sargent mixing with Alex Albon? Let's read it because it's really interesting, this story, guys. Logan Sargent started the 2024 Formula 1 season in the same way than he did last year, struggling with the car and not achieving the results Williams team principal James Wolfe desires from the American driver. By the other hand, his teammate Alexander Albon is beating Logan in every qualifying session and race of the season, as happened in 2024 and 2023. The crucial moment for Logan Sargent in 2024 came in the free practice 3 of the Dutch Grand Prix when he suffered a big crash into the barriers at the exit of the bank corner in wet conditions. The car was completely destroyed and not ready for qualifying. The next day, the Williams mechanics did a fantastic job repairing the car and giving Logan the chance to complete his last race in Formula 1. That crash in Zandvoort was the pinnacle of a mountain of crashes and bad results for Logan in Williams. That's why the team principal James Wolfe decided to give the opportunity to the reserve driver of Williams, the Argentinian Franco Colapinto, of driving the rest of the season in the Williams car during, that was driving Logan before. The edit you will be able to see in the Docuedit F1 2024 shows the crash of Logan Sargent, but is not the core of the video. The edit is focused in the episode happened in the 2024 Australian Grand Prix, with the Williams drivers swap chassis after the Alexander Albon crash in free practice of that Grand Prix. Learn more about that story inside of the edit in the episode 6 of the developer diary. Well, this is another story, but basically, yes. One of the reasons because I made this edit was because of what happened in Australia. And let's explain it watching the video, because I think I did a better job explaining it in the video, and you will understand exactly why I decided to make an edit about Logan and Alexander Albon here. No, this is the crash of the Dutch Grand Prix in free practice 3 that I mentioned before in reading the story, and that probably was the crash that led to the team principal James Wolfe to decide to fire Logan from Williams from this race onwards. But let me go to Australia. In the Australian Grand Prix, Alexander Albon in free practice as well. That happened much earlier than the crash we saw before in the Dutch Grand Prix. Alex crashed in Australia, and this is the story that is behind that. This is the crash. Let's see it. The team boss James Wolfe asked to Logan to give the car to Alex for the rest of the weekend, missing Logan the rest of the weekend and not being able to be on track racing. Logan Sargent accepted that moment. For me, is extremely iconic and extremely special for Logan Sargent as a human being.
You know, I dump everything into this sport, so I always want to have the chance to perform, and that opportunity and always back myself.
The other part of the edit is focusing Alexander Albon. Exactly. Sargent give his chassis to Alex to complete the rest of the weekend, Alexander Albon. And for me, despite all the bad results Logan Sargent achieved or scoring in his Formula 1 career, he was not performing as he should perform to keep racing in Formula 1. Unfortunately, that moment when Sargent had the chassis to Albon to race in Australia, for me was really special, guys. And that's probably the main reason because I made that edit, to show the generosity of Logan Sargent and to show a story that it's not about success, it's not about glory, it's not about winning, but it's so much important as a race victory, for example. You know, these details that defines not defines racing drivers, but defines human beings. And for me, here Logan Sargent, for me, has a very big recognition for what he did there. Obviously, in the edit will be represented Alexander Albon racing with the chassis of Logan Sargent in Australia. That's the second part of the story. But as I try to explain here, I think here I explain it. Let me show you that. Great edits that I'm really proud of. I will remember forever that moment of Logan Sargent. Yeah, exactly. And at the same time, the extraordinary race Alexander did in Australia. Yeah, sometimes Formula 1 is not about winning, it's not about podiums, it's not about the big moments, but you can create beautiful edits and to focus the action in beautiful gestas and beautiful episodes like the Alexander Albon and Logan Sargent moment in Australia. Exactly. That's the main reason because I made this edit. Move on to the next story I want to present you, and it's this one is really sad as well at the same time. Daniel Ricciardo, iconic driver that unfortunately we miss from this season onwards. His last season in Formula 1 in RB, and this is why I made the edit. Let's read the story behind. Basically, the Australian driver Daniel Ricciardo starts the 2024 Formula 1 season as usual, smiling. It's his second season in Formula 1 during the second stage of his career in this category, after his comeback at the middle of the 2023 season driving for Scuderia AlphaTauri, known this 2024 season as Visa Cash App RB. Daniel was trying to be as fast as possible since race 1, trying to score maximum number of points for the team and try to beat his teammate, the Japanese driver Yuki Tsunoda. Unfortunately, the season did not start in the way Daniel was expecting for. Some mistakes like a spin in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, some crashes like the one he had with Alex Albon at the start of the Japanese Grand Prix frustrated the confidence of Daniel in the car. In qualifying, was not able to squeeze the last tenths the car had at one lap pace, but being beat by Tsunoda most of the times. Everything changed for the Ricciardo in the sprint race of the Miami Grand Prix on Saturday morning. He qualified in an incredible 4th place in the sprint qualifying, finishing in the same position in the sprint race, holding two much faster cars, the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz and the McLaren of Oscar Piastri, every single lap. That was probably the highlight of the 2024 season for Daniel, that incredible sprint race in Miami, that 4th place. Those 5 points were the first of the season, but most important than that, it were a signal of the possible comeback of the best level of Daniel driving in Formula 1. Unfortunately, after that sprinting race in Miami, the season back to the initial point, Daniel kept struggling to extract the full potential of the car, and Tsunoda beat Daniel most of the race weekends. Ricciardo was able to score points in 3 more races, finishing 8th in Canada, 9th in Austria and 10th in Belgium. In the round 18 of the 2024 season during the Singapore Grand Prix, rumors said that it could be the last race in Formula 1 for Daniel Ricciardo. After finishing 18th in that race, Daniel decided to stay in the car some seconds more than usual, confirming some minutes later in the post-race interview that he wanted to cherish those final seconds in the car, knowing it could be the last time. Rumors were true, and Daniel was substituted by the New Zealand driver Liam Lawson for the remaining 6 races of the season. That was the farewell season for Daniel Ricciardo, a driver that was able to win 8 times in Formula 1, achieving multiple pole positions and doing amazing overtakes during the 10 years he was competing in Formula 1. Daniel not only will be remembered for his performance on track, also for his good vibes off track, his jokes and his smile making a bit better the day of his fans, teammates, and the team around in every race weekend. In the edit I've made for the Docuedit Formula 1 2024 season, you will be able to watch the last season of Daniel in Formula 1, the personality and character of the Australian driver as you have never seen before, creating a special atmosphere around the edit that will make shine Daniel as what he is, a true racer and a very funny person. Exactly. I have to say that, yeah, I'm a big fan of Daniel Ricciardo as well. I don't know, I'm very fan of the Australian drivers. And Daniel is not only a good racing driver, I like his personality as well. He's really fun, always doing jokes, laughing, trying to put good humor, you know, and for me that's very important. And this is what I try to explain in the story. Let's take a look. This is the moment in the this is how it starts the edit. In the Singapore Grand Prix, after he finished the race, he stayed in the car some seconds, like reflecting that it could be his last race, probably crying inside of the helmet, and it's really sad. Obviously, I had to make something about Daniel Ricciardo for the Docuedit Formula 1 2024 season. The last season, unfortunately, for Daniel in Formula 1 after a very long career. When I was making the edit, I remember I was listening different interviews in qualifying and post-race interviews. I was listening every time from Daniel that he was not fully comfortable with the car.
We're missing something, so take a few little positives from the week, but obviously a few more things to work on and quick turnaround. So.
Exactly, he suffered a lot during the season with the setups, with the car, with the pace. This is what I try to explain. But for me, the most important is the final moments in the interview when he feels emotional. He's almost crying, and he explains why he decided to stay in the car some minutes after the finishing his last Grand Prix at Singapore. And for me, this is what it matters, you know. The emotion he had and the legacy will give us to all of us, apart from victories he had in Formula 1 and the podiums, his smile, and this is what I try to explain here. He was really sad in the last post-race interview in Singapore. We saw on his eyes he was almost crying.
Yeah, the cockpit is something that I got very used to for many years.
But at the end of the day, he has to be very proud for what he did, because I'm sure Formula 1 fans will remember forever what Daniel Ricciardo did in Formula 1. And that's what I tried to represent in my edits.
Just wanted to savor the moment.
Exactly. And as you can listen in the song that I used for the edit, the song finished saying, I want to see you again. Like, I would like to see you again. I'm probably not in Formula 1, but I hope to see you around Formula 1, analyzing races or making interviews to the drivers with your smile and everything, because I think Daniel is a personality that we should not lose in Formula 1. He should to come back to do something, you know. But this is my personal desire, I have to say, and I try to reflect that in the edit. Move on to the next story that is about Fernando Alonso. This one, very special as well. Fernando Alonso, he had not a season very successful, very difficult season. Let's read the story, and later on I will to explain to you how I approach the edit. Let me drink a bit because I'm dry reading so much. I hope you are enjoying this live, guys. It's very important to know the stories behind. I think it's very interesting. Fernando Alonso starts the Formula 1 2024 season looking for good results and great battles on track with the top team drivers, as he did the previous season in 2023, when he finished 4th in the Drivers' Championship, achieving 206 points and 8 podiums. During the first races in 2024, the car is still being fast in qualifying. Fernando was able to qualify in the top 5 places in Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Japan or China. Unfortunately, things changed completely every Sunday during the race. Alonso tried to defend in race from the McLaren, Ferrari and the Mercedes drivers, but the race pace of the Aston Martin set his car as the fifth fastest, far away from those teams. Every race his brilliant qualifying positions achieved on Saturday was ruined by the poor performance of his green car on race. The key moment of the season, the moment everything goes down for Fernando, is at Imola during the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix after a crash in free practice 3 session. Fernando ends last in qualifying some hours later with an unpredictable car that a 2-time world champion cannot extract inner speed on it because the upgrades the team brought did not work and made the car even worse. After the Imola weekend, things start to get worse weekend by weekend. The problems with the car continues every race weekend. When the upgrades the team brings does not work as it should, losing more ground with the top 4 teams and being caught little by little by the rest of the teams, Alpines, Haas, Williams, RB. In the second half of the season, Fernando has difficulties to qualify in the top 10 and to put the car on points on Sunday, something absolutely incredible looking back to where the team was some months ago. But despite all these difficulties, Fernando kept fighting as a true Formula 1 world champion in every session, doing incredible overtakes and achieving points in weekends where the car was not in conditions to do it. Fernando never gives up, and his samurai spirit don't let him stop pushing the car to the limits to try to reach the best results possible for the team. Alonso hopes still alive after a very difficult 2024 season. Lawrence Stroll, the owner of Aston Martin, has reached a deal with the best engineer of the history in Formula 1, Adrian Newey, to be part of the team from March 2025. Newey was one of the best of the wishes Alonso had a lot of years ago. Now he and Adrian will fight together. That means that probably Alonso will have a car to be competitive again and to fight with the top teams and drivers, which is the place where he belongs. Exactly, guys. The point of the edit is the 2024 season was extremely difficult in comparison to what he was able to achieve in 23 when he had a much better car. But the key point of this edit is to try to show Fernando Alonso like a true warrior and also as a 2-time Formula 1 world champion. Never forget that. His ambition and determination, even when he had not the car, and the age at age he had now, 44, 45 years old, still being intact, still being absolutely the same than when he started to race in Formula 1 in 2001, like 24 years ago. So that's the point of the edit, and let's listen a bit. That's what I try to represent.
And I think this 2024 we start with a good baseline, yes, but with a lot of things in the pipeline for the rest of the season.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work. These upgrades and these kind of things the team was planned for 2024. But let's move to the final part where I try to explain why I made the edit. Representing the samurai spirit, a philosophy that Fernando Alonso follows long time ago.
A racing driver and a samurai are very linked.
Samurais gave their own lives to fight for what they defend. Fernando Alonso gives everything he has to be fighting on track.
Alonso laid on the brakes though! The defense from Alonso!
Wherever the situation is, wherever the conditions they are, he always will give the 100%, even more. And that's what is reflected in my edit for the Docuedit 2024 season. Looking forward to 2025, when Adrian Newey will join in the team. One of the biggest dreams Fernando Alonso had in Formula 1 finally was complete. What will happen? We don't know, but I'm sure Fernando will keep giving us the best of him on track. Exactly. In this edit, you will be able to watch that samurai spirit I was mentioning in the video. Fernando is very fan of this kind of samurai culture. And in the edit is reflected. I use images from samurais, from geishas, from characters of the Japanese culture to represent that philosophy Fernando Alonso have. And also Adrian Newey is represented in the edit, looking forward to 2025. At the end of the video, I try to explain in a very short period of time with a very intense edit all feelings the Fernando Alonso fans have about this union between Adrian and Fernando, and the hopes they have to see Fernando once again fighting at the top. That is when the fans, and I think everyone wants to see him, where he belongs, to fight for top positions. But this is an edit that you will enjoy so much, guys. Move on to the story number 9. This one is complex, very complex, because it involves 3 drivers, Franco Colapinto, Liam Lawson, and Sergio Perez, in an edit that is really, really interesting and probably a bit polemic maybe for some fans of, for example, Perez. Even Lawson, now that today or yesterday was confirmed that he was relegated to RB again, and it will be swap with Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki Tsunoda goes to Red Bull Racing and Lawson goes to RB because his 2 races he did in Red Bull this season were a disaster. And yeah, so let's see what happens in the future. The story of the Lawson Colapinto Perez edit. Let's read the story, guys, because I think it's very interesting as well. In the final quarter of the 2024 Formula 1 season, Liam Lawson replaced Daniel Ricciardo in Visa Casa Racing Bulls. Meanwhile, Franco Colapinto replaced Logan Sargent in Williams Racing. These 2 young talented drivers had only a few races to prove they deserved a seat for the 2025 season. Colapinto had races to do it, from round 16 of 24, and Lawson even less, from round 19 of 24. Very soon Colapinto was able to do great performances like in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix where he qualified in the top 10 and he scored points on Sunday, something that the driver he substituted, Logan Sargent, was not able to do in the previous 15 races. Lawson had a great moments as well, like in the Sao Paulo Grand Prix where he qualified in the top 5 for qualifying and he scoring points on Sunday. Colapinto and Lawson were able to score points in 1 race more in the US Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas, finishing 10th and 9th, following the order mentioned before. At the same time, these 2 drivers were proving that they deserve to be recognized as a potential candidates for a seat in the Formula 1 2025 grid. Another driver was in the opposite situation. Sergio Checo Perez was having one of the worst seasons of his career in Formula 1. The Red Bull racing car he had on hands was not so fast and easy to drive as it was the previous season in 2023. His teammate Max Verstappen was able to maintain a very high level of performance driving that Red Bull. From round 6, car started to show vulnerable against other teams that were evolving the car much better and faster like McLaren, Ferrari and Mercedes. Perez was on the podium in the 4 of the first 5 races of the season, but since round 5 of 24 he was not able to be on the podium again, failing to score points in 8 of the 18 remaining races. In addition, he had controversial moments like his incident with Carlos Sainz at Baku City Circuit, where he was fighting for the podium when in the last lap both drivers collided into the wall. Meanwhile, Perez was suffering every race to perform as the team was expecting. The other 2 driver protagonists of the story, Liam Lawson and Franco Colapinto, were catching the attention of the other teams thanks to their good races in the final part of the season. Even Liam Lawson had some battle and incidents on track with Sergio Checo Perez, like in the Mexican Grand Prix. Lawson at that point of the season was not only fighting with Perez on track, also he was doing it outside because rumors in the paddock were suggesting that it could be the last season of Perez in Red Bull and it could be substituted by Liam Lawson for 2025. Even Franco Colapinto sounded in these rumors at some point. The 2024 season continued until Abu Dhabi. Lawson and Colapinto were not able to score points again, even they had some incidents and crashes in the final races, but in general the performance shown was excellent, considering the few amount of races they had to prove their skills in a Formula 1 car. By the other hand, Perez had a terrible final races, scoring only 1 single point. All this combination of results ended with Liam Lawson announced as a teammate of Max Verstappen substituting Sergio Perez in Red Bull Racing for 2025. Perez was not able to find another seat, being out of the grid for 2025. Franco Colapinto finished his contract with Williams because his seat was reserved for Carlos Sainz since long time ago, but he was able to find a place being reserve driver of Alpine for 2025, with possibilities of racing at some point of the season. These 3 drivers were fighting for their future in Formula 1. It was a battle for surviving, where they did his best to keep fighting for their dream, to be a Formula 1 driver. Exactly. A bit long this story, I know, but the point is this one. I made this edit because we had a battle, 3 horses battle, Colapinto in Williams, Lawson in RB, and Perez at Red Bull to survive in Formula 1 for the next season. Finally, you know the story. Perez was relegated and fired of Red Bull for 2025. Lawson occupied that seat And Colapinto was not able to have a seat for 25, but is in a very good position in Alpine now to drive at some point as official driver, thanks to their good performances. And this is what I tried to explain. A fight for surviving in Formula 1, where the phrase of the famous Netflix series, Drive to Survive, have more sense than ever. So in this edit, you know, very intense edit, really short, but this is what I tried to explain. Let's take a look. Let's see if we can explain a bit more the what it means, that edit. With Sergio Perez.
What the is he did, man? Is she crazy or what?
This is the incident Perez had with Carlos Sainz at Baku when he was fighting for the podium. Sergio Perez had not a good season at all. He had a lot of troubles with the car. He was not understanding in most of the times the setups, as he said multiple times in different driver interviews.
We have this disconnection with the balance, and I think at these downforce levels it's even harder. You know, I had a great run on my strap tire in Q3, but then I put the new tire and everything gets really picky, really difficult.
He was not fully comfortable with the car.
Green light.
All these problems was exactly the same. It's having Lawson now, and the reason why in Lawson now is not in Red Bull anymore. It's incredible how this car is so difficult to drive for everyone. Not only for, I remember, for Gasly, for Alexander Albon in the past, for Perez, Lawson. Verstappen looks the only one to manage this car. Very difficult.
Franco Colapinto, there you go, there's the green light. Brilliant instinctive stuff from Colapinto.
This is Colapinto passing Perez and the pit exit when the green light was put in front. Very strange mistake by Perez.
Pinto.
In different races, Liam Lawson and Colapinto pass or fight with Sergio Perez at some moment on track.
An opportunity for Perez. Is he serious?
And Liam Lawson and even Franco Colapinto at some point they were related to that Red Bull seat that Sergio Perez was leaving for 25.
Sorry, mate. Going to recovery.
10-second time penalty for Liam Lawson.
Sorry for that. It wasn't my intention.
Edit that mixed these three drivers on track tried to fight for that seat in Red Bull Racing.
Perez passed two of them.
Yes, because even at some point I remember rumors that said Colapinto could be a possible candidate for that Red Bull seat. So that's one of the reasons as well I made that edit.
In one corner!
Finally, Liam Lawson was the winner. Perez was out of Red Bull Racing and he won't be racing in 25, and Colapinto will be reserve driver for Alpine. These three drivers gave absolutely everything to keep fighting for their dreams, to be competing in Formula 1. Was what I tried to reflect in my edit for the Docuedit Formula 1 24 season. Amazing battle for surviving. Exactly. That's what I try to represent in that edit. Very intense, very important as well, and it's an edit that is about drivers that not many people do edits like this one about drivers like Franco Colapinto, Liam Lawson. So probably something you won't be able to see anywhere. And I hope you enjoy it. And guys, move on to the final story I want to present you. That will be in the Docuedit. It's the final of today, but as I said in previous lives, there are more stories and edits I was making for this project. And later on I will explain to you how you can get access, because it's not for everyone, but in any way I will try to explain you. The last one I want to present you today is about the world champion of the previous season. Now 4 times Formula 1 world champion Max Verstappen. Incredible season, guys. This championship Max Verstappen achieved was remarkable because he had not the fastest car most of the season, but it's so good that he's able, even not having the fastest car, to be competitive and to fight for world championships. That's why he's now 4 times Formula 1 world champion. Let's read the story and let's see a bit in the story is very well resumed all what I want to explain about Max Verstappen and the reason why I decided to make this edit for the Docuedit. The 2024 Formula 1 season started in the same way than the previous year for Max Verstappen in Oracle Red Bull Racing, dominating every single race weekend, from qualifying to the race day. Verstappen won 5 of the first 7 races of the season. It looked it would be an easy road to conquer his 4th Formula 1 Driver Championship trophy, but since the Miami Grand Prix things started to change. Lando Norris won in Miami, and in the next round in the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix at Imola, Max Verstappen was able to achieve the victory, but he suffered in the final lap to hold Lando Norris and his McLaren. In the next round in Monaco, Max Verstappen suffered a lot and his Red Bull was not dominant at all, achieving a 6th place in race. Charles Leclerc won the Monaco Grand Prix for Scuderia Ferrari. Max Verstappen was not only having troubles in race. In qualifying, the Mercedes driver George Russell scored the pole position in the Canadian Grand Prix, setting exactly the same lap time than Max Verstappen. Next day, Max was able to win in Canada, thanks to the chaotic conditions on track being wet during the first half of the race and then drying out. Max won that race beating Norris and Russell, but not because of the car performance. It was pure skills to master Canada in wet conditions, avoiding mistakes their rivals made at some point of the race. In Spain, Verstappen won again, but once again the pole position was scored by another different driver, Lando Norris or McLaren. Max had to do a great race start and then fighting on track against Russell to get the win. Much different than it was in 23, when since first lap he dominated the race lap by lap. From round 10, the Spanish Grand Prix, Max Verstappen was not able to win again until round 21 in Sao Paulo. During that period, Max had to survive against McLaren, Ferrari and Mercedes driver, whom achieved all race wins. In all that period, Verstappen was not able to win. At that point of the season, Max had a good advantage on points achieved in the first races of the season when the car was still dominating. And here is when Verstappen showed to everyone why he was a 3 times Formula 1 World Champion. In Austria, we saw the first head-to-head on track against his main chaser in the Drivers' Championship, the McLaren driver Lando Norris. In the sprint race of the Austrian Grand Prix, he was able to maintain behind Norris and the other McLaren of Oscar Piastri, both in a faster car. On Sunday's race, Norris and Verstappen had an amazing battle in the final part of the race, where Max used all his skills to maintain the lead until both contact, suffering both a tire puncture and giving the victory to George Russell. But Max was able to finish in 5th place and Lando Norris had to retire the car, increasing the gap in the championship with the British driver. The battle on track between Norris and Verstappen in Austria was repeated by the same protagonists in the coming races like Hungary, Netherlands, Italy or United States. Norris started to dominate and win more races, but Max was able to finish just behind in multiple occasions and sometimes even ahead, putting his car in a place that not should be by pure performance. That superb drive from Max gave him the opportunity to maintain the gap on points in the championship with his main rival Lando Norris. From round 6 in Miami until round 20 in Mexico, the gap between Verstappen and Norris in the championship was reduced in 6 points, from 53 to 47 points. In the Sao Paulo Grand Prix in Brazil, Verstappen went through the most critical scenario in terms of championship situation. Max, due to a red flag caused by the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll in the last seconds of the qualifying 2 session on very wet conditions, Verstappen was eliminated, adding an extra 5-place grid penalty for changing power unit components, starting 17th for the race on Sunday. Meanwhile, his rival in the championship, Lando Norris, will start in 1st place. The race day was a complete wet race from the beginning until the very last lap. That day, Verstappen showed his talent once again, completing an extraordinary comeback from 17th to 1st. Meanwhile, Norris only was able to finish in 6th place. That result almost gave the championship to Verstappen, who just needed to finish in 6th place in the Grand Prix in Las Vegas to be crowned as a 4 times Formula 1 World Champion. That 4th title was achieved by pure skills, not having the fastest car during most of the season, and fighting with very talented drivers in superior cars. That 2024 season, Max Verstappen shown to the world why he is and still being the reigning world champion. Exactly, very long story as well, but basically the concept of the edit is Verstappen was able to win a world championship without having the fastest car and being the fastest of all. And this is what I try to explain in the edit. Basically, at the end of the edit, guys, more or less at this point, I'm trying to explain it in this part. Let's take a look. To represent how a driver, in this case Max Verstappen, was able to defeat to the logic, outperforming a car he had on hands to achieve results that the car was not able to achieve in normal conditions. Exactly. And that was what I tried to reflect in that edit in any moment. The season when he had not the fastest car, but he was the fastest. That's the phrase. That's the phrase. And that's what it matters at the end. It's what I hope you will be able to see in my edit for the Docuedit 2024 season. Exactly. This edit is the longest of all, where you will be able to be represented the Max Verstappen season in 24, as you have never seen before. This is something that I explained in the developer diary, the kind of videos I was explaining in the previous live yesterday. And basically these are the stories, part 10 of all the stories I had for the Docuedit F1 2024. By the way, if you are enjoying these videos, where I explain the story, and you would like to watch the full videos, I just watching part of the half part of the videos of the stories where I explain the stories behind the edits. In my YouTube channel, where I'm doing this live now, Dani Lozano of Loz F1, here is where you can see these videos as well. Also, you can watch it on my blog, it's the same. And also on YouTube. This is the Max Verstappen video. This is the Liam Lawson, Colapinto and Perez, Alonso, Ricciardo. In this, the story of the drivers here, I explain the story behind every edit, part of the videos we were watching before. Also, you have the developer diary episodes. If you would like to know more about that, check the previous live we did yesterday. And finally, you may be asking yourself, Dani, you show me 10 stories of 10 edits of the Docuedit, but there are more. Yes, there are more, and some people know all edits I was working on. But this is something that is exclusive for my community on patreon.com/flows, guys. This is my Patreon page. Patreon.com/flows. I will place the link in the comments below also, in case you would like to take a look to my Patreon page. And basically, the Flows Premium members here have access to more information about the edits I was working on for the project Docuedit Formula 1 2024 season. For example, in the collections that are here, these are the collections. In the collection Docuedit F1 2024, you can get access to the developer diary all access version. The developer diary is a video series that also you can watch on YouTube, where I explain how I was building the edits for this project, the Docuedit. But every single episode that is on YouTube have an all access version, that is this one. The all access version, every single episode, there are 10 episodes of the developer diary. Every single version have an all access version that is available only on Patreon. As you can see here, this is the episode 10 all access version. Here, for example, is the episode 8, the 9, the episode 7. And here I show in Patreon edits that I've not shown on YouTube. Obviously, when you will be able to see the whole project, you will be able to watch all projects. And all edits I was working on in the final video. But people who is supporting me as a Flows Premium member here on this community on Patreon, they have this information much earlier. And also, basically, guys, what I want you to understand is this Patreon page and people who become in Flows Premium member, they do not only to get extra content from me and from my work. It's people who really love what I do, or the videos I'm making about Formula 1, and they really want to support me. So in case you would like to support all the hard work that's supposed to me to make this video, 10 months, that is a lot, you can support me as a content creator through Patreon, patreon.com/flows. As always, I will place the link in the comments below in case you would like to contribute and to help me to keep making these videos, which I really love. I'm a big Formula 1 fan as you guys. I'm doing that for passion, but this is the way I found people can give me more time to spend more time to keep making videos like this one, like this project, the Docuedit, like more edits I will make in the future about other drivers, about next seasons in Formula 1, because I really love to make these videos. But obviously, this is for free. My videos are for free. People has not to pay for them, and it's okay. This is how it's gonna be. But this is the way you can support all the work I'm doing, and I'm bringing you guys. So if you really want to support me on Patreon, patreon.com/floss, this is the way you can do it. And now, guys, that's all for today. That's I hope you enjoyed this live stream where I try to explain all the stories behind every edit. Remember that tomorrow we have a new live that will be available here. We will talk about the graphic design and visual art. Very interesting. And remember, you can watch more videos about the Docuedit in the official playlist on YouTube. Thank you so much for staying here, guys. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow in a new live. Bye bye.